Hey everybody, it's me, the Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl, the crazy Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl. It is Monday night and this is Twisted Stitches. We had a little bit of what we call it, a remix. We did a little remix there with,
The sound of silence.
well, first we couldn't get audio. At least Gillian couldn't get audio. I could hear her just great, but she couldn't hear me. And yeah, we were twisted for sure. And then we discovered that she didn't have her speakers on. She had her mic on, but not her speakers. And then I played both trailers at the same time. Oh, well. So what happened when Paul's away? Oi is right, Paul. Oh, my goodness gracious. So Gloria's going to say hello to everybody. And yeah, we were twisted. Everything was twisted here. It's been a good day. It's Monday night. We are ready for a night of twisted stitches. And oh, my goodness. Paul accidentally played the other trailer. Hey, everybody. Well, we're trying to do things from long distance, and we are, we struggled through these few weeks with Paul away, and it's really nice to know he's coming home on Friday because for all his antics and all the craziness, I sure do miss the hell out of that guy. So let me just get some of these comments in before we go formal with Gillian. Hey, Darren and Gloria Massley from Berea, Ohio. Gloria, are you new to us? I don't remember that name. It looks like you're on YouTube. And Darren, hi, Darren from Cape Cod. Beth Ann Wilkes is with us. Rita Cotterman is saying, good evening, ladies. And Deb Andretta, hello from Central Pennsylvania. And Paul, where are you right now? I think he's in Pittsburgh. Hi, Nancy Robertson and Donna Nahalo and Jeannie McLean and Deb Massa, Lorraine Schiller. Oh, my goodness. Hey, Michelle Mingo Lewis and Donna Masung. Oh, my goodness. Mary Evans is with us. And, oh, yeah, Nancy says I'm doing great without my tech support. Here, let me show that on the screen. You taught me well, Paul. Paul is in the background. He's not on the show with us, but he's watching everything that we're doing here. Donna said, hi, Gillian. And Cape Cod, Paul said. Anna Maria says, hello, ladies. And Paul is in Fort Washington, Maryland. And so that's where he is. And, well, that's our first group of people, and we'll see who else logs in while we are on the show. And I am so excited that somebody put a question in Nitty Gritty Yarn Group. And wait a minute. Let's see what Nancy Robertson said. I almost didn't recognize Donna's name without the J. Hi, Ellen from Dreschler from North Carolina. So I am so thrilled that somebody put this question to the group in Nitty Gritty Yarn Group. And if those of you who are watching tonight are not members of Nitty Gritty Yarn Group, it's a fun place. And it is a place where our fans just share their work and share all their, just their fun of life right there in that group. So if you'd like to join us, please go right ahead and join Nitty Gritty Yarn Group. But someone decided to ask, how do people organize their stash? And when they asked that question, poof, all these questions and answers came up, and everybody had so many different ways. And I know that Gillian is a great user of Ravelry. I know that I do not maximize Ravelry as I should. And it's a great resource. So many of us look at it as a pattern resource, but there is so much more to it. So we have Gillian, who was so kind to answer so many questions there, just with little tidbits of information. Asked Gillian to join us tonight to share her experiences and how she uses Ravelry to categorize and store her stash. So there you go. It's great to have you on, Gillian. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And before we start, let me just say, Renee Richardson just said, I broke my wrist this morning, so I need to learn to crochet left-handed. Oh, no, Renee, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm left-handed. Maybe I can help you. I had to learn to knit left-handed last week for a new student. So We can learn anything. So, Gillian, tell us all about Ravelry.
Well, Ravelry is a great resource. Most of us don't use it for what we could use it for, and I find that I'm always finding new things on Ravelry and new ways to sort things and stuff like that. And one of the things that really has worked for me, I'm going to turn my computer a minute and see if you can see that pile of bins with all the numbers on it. That's my stash, except for the bin that's next to me. And when you see that pile of bins, you're like, oh my God, how do you find anything? And Ravelry has been instrumental in helping me do that. In a former life before I was a realtor and Paulette and I met through real estate, I was in logistics and we did inventory. So I brought that education into my hobby and said, how do I make this work? And how can I keep what I have? Because I'm one of those people that I would call myself a yarn hoarder.
Well, if you were a hoarder, it would be all over your house.
Well, it was all over my house at one point. So I would call myself a yarn hoarder. And then, once I got organized, it's really, really helpful to say, oh, I can find this. So I'm going to take you through putting in a couple of things and showing you how that can be done. One of the things that's really important to keep in mind, and I know a lot of us have, and I did the same thing when I first started sorting. Let's put our stash by weight. You put all your fingering together, you put all your sport weight together, you've got all your chunky together. Well, that only works when you sort it. And as soon as you make a project and you've taken something out of that bin, and now you go shopping again, but you're not replacing, let's say, the chunky with chunky, you're replacing the chunky with DK. So you can't put that into the chunky bin, and now your DK bin is full, but you've got space in your chunky bin. So
I have no space left in my chunky bin, I can tell you that.
Well, maybe Paul doesn't either, because you know how he always tells us he used to be chunky.
Right.
Yeah. But you don't need to have one size in your bin. And one of the things I wanted to show you, I just pulled one bin because there's so many bins here. But this is bin 6. And if I hold it up, you will see there is all different size yarn in here. There's DK, there's no chunky because I don't chunky yarn. But there's DK, there's some fingering, there's some sport, there's some, and it's all categorized. So if I'm looking, let's say, for a Spud and Chloe sweater, and I went to my Ravelry, and I'll show you. It says it's in bin 6.
So why would you mix different yarns in the same bin?
Why not?
So it doesn't matter as long as you just have them all categorized, and that makes sense.
Yeah, it's wherever you have room. So even if you use a dresser and you number the dresser drawers, and wherever you have room, that's where it goes. All right. So unfortunately, I have bin 21 sitting next to me, which is right now empty. And so the new ones are going to go into bin 21. So when we do this, you'll see. But, for example, I'm going to bring up my screen. And that'll give you my stash.
No, I remember. What did I have to do when you did this? You're going to share your screen, and then we should be able to see you. Okay. And I have to add that to the stream. Look at us. Damn.
Okay, so now let's go to that Spud and Chloe. That's Blue Sky Fibers now, right? I don't
So
know.
they're all alphabetical there, I see.
Yeah. So if I go to Blue Sky Fibers, look at that. Blue Sky Fibers worsted. I have one skein. And look where it is.
It's in bin 6. And
It's in bin 6.
And
I have the colorway, I have the dye lot. And I even told you where I purchased it, which is not necessarily information that needs to be there. But if you put in how much you paid for it, if somebody asked you if you were willing to sell it, you might want that information.
Right. And also, if you happen to need that same dye lot, perhaps the shop that you bought it in might. Now, of course, being a yarn shop owner, we just never know how long our inventory is going to be around. And but it's always worth it to call that shop first and say, hey, I bought it here. And do you happen to have a skein of Spud and Chloe in color Igloo 7517 dye lot 2336? Boy, this is really organized.
It's very organized. So you can get really all the information that you need. Or like, let's say you have a sweater you're knitting, and some of us sometimes play yarn chicken. You don't buy that extra skein. You say, no, I'm not going to need it. I'll make it work. And then you get near the end. And what happens?
The chicken won.
The chicken won instead of the knitter. And now you need one more skein. Well, you can actually search on Ravelry. If the shop that you bought it from doesn't have it anymore, you can actually search on Ravelry for people that have that yarn.
For other
because they have stashes like too. You. And you can contact that person and say, hey, I need one skein of, Spud and Chloe in Igloo. Do you still have it? Would you be willing to sell it?
Interesting.
Yeah. And people will. They will sell it. Not always. Some people don't even answer you, but knitters generally are nice people.
Yes, we are. I think everyone will agree with us there.
And people want to help out other knitters. And that's why not only do you want to keep that in your stash, but like if you look, let me see if I can get to that part in my stash. If you look into like will trade or sell, these are things that I might have leftovers. So like I might have made something and have half a skein.
Uh-huh.
And so it's sitting there. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just charge the person however much it costs me to ship it to them. It's like, that's a leftover, let me send it to you.
Yep.
And they can look for certain things. Of course, you have to remember to take things out of your stash as well. When you sold it or traded it or gifted it, if you use it up, you can use it up. And I'm going to show you, we're going to go in here into stash and we'll see where you can put all that information. So I've got a skein of Noro Hariuto that I actually have 4 skeins of that I bought at KnittyGrittyYarnGirl a couple of weeks ago that never got cataloged yet. And I'm going to show you how we do that. Okay. So where was the yarn originally purchased? Local yarn store. So I click that and it's already highlighted for this one.
Well, I'd like to see something here. Excuse me. I mean to interrupt you, but yes, I do mean to interrupt you.
Yes, you do.
First of all, Donna says, is our stash public?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so that's the answer to Donna's question. And then it says you are adding your 845th stashed yarn.
Yes. Yes. I saw that yesterday. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my
And
God.
I have a whole table full of yarn that has to be added here.
When you take something out, does it deduct from your
I
stash?
don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, that's good. So it's hopeful that you've already knitted some of this stuff and it's gone.
Oh yeah, like if you
Okay.
look in my stash that used up, there's lots of yarn that's used up.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So go ahead. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, it's fine. I think that's a fair question. Like she's adding number 845th stash yarn. That is definitely a fair question. Just don't tell Jack.
I
Okay.
know Jack. Who? I
Exactly.
don't know Jack.
Just don't tell Jack about that. So the name of my stashed yarn is Haritu. Of course, I can't say any of these Japanese. It didn't type in there. Okay. Haruito. Okay. And it's a Noro. So I go Noro. And did you see the drop down menu came up?
Yep.
Yeah. So you can pick from there too. And I got it at Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl. And I don't like to publish how much I spent. So I don't publish that. Okay. And because Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl's already in there, it's going to come up as Niantic. But if you have it, like if you went shopping in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and that's not one of your normal shops, you might want to add that store name in and where you got it. Yeah. It's kind of nice, like if you go on trips and you like to buy yarn on a trip, and like Dina was just in Amsterdam. Did you see that?
I did see that Dina's in Amsterdam.
Yeah, and she went to Stephen Penelope.
Yes,
so you probably want to mark that
right
on your Ravelry because that's a special yarn.
Yep.
You know?
It sure is.
Yeah. So now we hit continue. And look, it came up. Look at that. Sometimes they don't come up and Ravelry doesn't have the yarn. You can just add it if they don't. Okay, so choose the yarn. Okay, so now it does put in some things for us. Okay, so now we have the Harito. The colorway that I have is color number 2. Okay, so look in the drop-down menu. I have 2. And what's our closest color? This is a multicolored yarn. It's a self-striping multicolored, so multicolor. Okay, when I take the picture, I'll know what it looks like, right? And I have 4 skeins. So it adds up my yardage for me. Okay, so now I know how much yardage I have. And if I'm going to look for a pattern, I know how much of that yarn I have. Okay. When did I purchase it? I don't know. It was a couple weeks ago. This is lot A, as it tells me on the tag. And it's going to get stored in bin 21. Okay. So now, do I want to stash it? Do I want to have it as all used up? We know it's not all used up because I just got it. Will I trade or sell it? No, it's not going to go in my will trade or sell because I have plans for this yarn.
Where does it say that? Where's the will trade or sell?
In this drop-down menu from stash.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay. All right. And if you were in a group and you were trying to tell them something, you can share it with your group that you just got new yarn or something like that. The other thing that is really nice is that you can make notes here on the bottom. So if you have a planned project, you can put those notes in.
Yep.
So it reminds you because, we all buy yarn and then we buy yarn and we buy yarn and we have these projects in mind. And then we buy more yarn and then we start something else.
Yep.
Right. And what did we buy that yarn for? Do you remember? Well, if you put it in your notes, you'll remember what you were planning.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You can come back and edit the yarn. If you've never used it before, you're probably not going to give it a star rating until you use it. You can come back and edit that later. And you want to make sure before you go out of here that you save it. At the top here in the middle, it says save changes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then
so
you can
go ahead.
Go ahead. Ask your question.
Rita Cotterman asked, can you link patterns to your stash?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Would that be in the notes? Would you do that in the notes? Edit stash.
No, I can show you that. How about if I show you that in a minute?
Okay, sure.
Okay. Because then I'd have to go to a different part. So like if you, let's see. Well, let me finish this and then we'll do that.
Yeah. Okay. That's okay. It's okay.
All right. So we'll go to add photos. Now I was smart and I took my pictures earlier today so that I wouldn't have to start taking pictures and worrying about my phone or where my pictures are. So you can go to you can do this off your phone or you can do it off your computer. My phone actually downloads any pictures I take to my computer, so I can go and here are my pictures. See? And so this is the yarn. I took the picture earlier today and I just hit open. And again, you have to upload it because if you don't upload it, it's not going to be there. And you can take more than one picture if you want. You don't have to take pictures of all the balls. You just want to know what it looks like. Okay? You might have 25 balls of some yarn, and then hit finished with photos. And now I've added this. I've got a picture of it. And I know what's in my stash. And I know where it is because where is it? It's in bin 21. Okay. Now, if I was going to if I was going to begin a project, I can do it right from here. If I was going to put a pattern with it, then I do it from somewhere else. And I'm going to show you how you do it both ways. Okay. So if I'm going to begin a project, I can begin my project, name my project, and create the project. So this yarn happens to be for the Anisi sweater, the Noro sweater, Anisie. All right. And you can change the name of it later, but now it begins my project. The yarn comes into the project, and this is a project that's going to be in my project part of Ravelry. Ravelry, I mean, I could spend all day teaching you different parts of Ravelry, okay? But you see now it shows the yarn, and then I would go and edit this. And let's say, I can take this out later, so I'm not worried about. Let's say this is going to be, I can put the Anisi down here. And it should find the pattern for me. There it is, right there. And you can click that. And what that does is it gives you where that pattern came from. And you can also and I wouldn't do it until after you hit save changes. You can see other projects. Let me hit save changes. And you see here, you can hit 58 projects of that Anisi sweater. So you can see what other people did. You can read their notes as well. So if somebody had problem with the pattern, they might have notes in there. Or if they felt it was really easy to do, or they did it in a different yarn, or they had problem with gauge, they might have put notes in their Ravelry. So this is really kind of useful in the fact that when you're going to look at a pattern, the one thing that I always try to do with Ravelry is look at the Ravelry projects on that pattern
Mm-hmm.
to see if people had problems with it.
Right. Right.
Right? Because who wants to start a project that you're going to have to rip out because it doesn't work out? Nobody.
Right.
Nobody. You know.
So Jessica A's is saying you can link your projects to your stash, and it will deduct the amount used for you too. So
Yes, it deducts.
Yep, that's pretty interesting. And Nancy Robertson says, I foresee a 12-part Twisted Stitches on this topic.
Well, you know, Paulette and I had talked about that and talked about maybe doing, you know, a Saturday afternoon tutorial type of thing in the shop, or maybe shop and online kind of thing, you know, a hybrid, to give you more information. The nice thing about Ravelry is you can play with it, and if you make a mistake, you can fix it.
Yep. Yep.
You know, so to show you what Jessica was talking about. So this is the sweater that I have on right now. This is the Lemon Spritz by Marie Green. I knit mine in Noro. It's knit in Sonata. And you can see here that I still have 590 yards in my stash. I used 2.5 skeins, so I must have had 4 skeins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it tells me how much is left. Okay.
So it's really very interesting. Michelle says, I think you have it planned for the retreat too. Yeah, we're going to do a kind of a how to maximize Ravelry. Yeah, we're going to do a little class on that or more a presentation on that at the retreat as well. Not a class, but it'll be open to everybody at the retreat. Yep. And Whitney's going to do that, but we can always do something at the shop as well for those people who aren't able to come to the retreat. Though we think everybody should be there, of course.
Absolutely. But there's only so much room.
So, all right. And so we've got that. Anything else that you want to share about this now? What else we have?
Well, the only other thing I wanted to answer was, like, if you had a project, and I'm trying to think of which one might have. Oh, okay. So this is in the queue. So this is projects that I want to do, right? And patterns that I picked out that I'd like to knit. So this rose bush pullover, this one here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty.
It's very pretty. And if you see here, it says, I'll use rosy green, cheeky merino joy. And how much I have in my stash. Because I chose the yarn that I want to knit that in from my stash. And of course, I've done it for I've used the same yarn for a couple of different patterns. So obviously that's not going to happen. But, you know, one of them will get knit in that, you know, and then I'll have to get some more yarn, and I'll have to stash some more yarn.
There you have it. Okay.
All right. So does anybody else have any other questions? I mean, I'm trying to do a short overview.
No, this is great. This is great. So Michelle Lewis said, I started to inventory my stash years ago, but I think they've improved it since then. Well, based on what Gillian is showing us, I think I don't know if it's improved, but I think it certainly is very helpful and very useful. As far as my stash goes, it's all called inventory. So I don't have to do that. But what I would find myself, I would like to do more is put my projects into Ravelry more and utilize it that way, because I think it's so important for the designers to know too what we do with their patterns. And
right.
Unless you actually post your project, then nobody knows, the designer never knows if you bought the pattern and never knitted it or never crocheted it. So, right. I think it's helpful to them too, to see our projects. And I know I started doing that more since I got to know Whitney more and working with her designs and realizing that, well, it's really helpful for people to know for the designers to know that people actually knit their designs. So a couple of comments here. Jessica is saying, yes, projects are very helpful for the designer and other knitters too. And Nancy Robertson is asking, Gillian, can you show your projects folder?
Yes, I can.
Project folder.
Yes, I can. The ones without the pictures are probably in process. So I will go down here. Is it showing? Yeah, it's starting to show, right?
Yep. So these are your projects that you.
These are all done. Yeah. This one, the Portage cardigan, is missing a picture, but.
So we should see 845 projects, right?
I don't know how many projects I have. Honestly, I mean, you know, there's some, you know, there's one of Jody's hats.
Is it pretty little toddler dress?
Yeah, lots of
rocket tee. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I see lots of Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl yarn in there. Thank you.
Yes, yes, and my breast cancer awareness wrap, which you know, we auctioned off, and some Jody long patterns. There's the Gillian sweater.
Yeah. Now, do you you do a lot of test knitting and project knitting for designers? Are those, you put those in here as well, right? Because
once they're published, then I'll put the picture up.
Okay.
You know, I wait till they publish because it's not fair to them for me to put up something that's not available.
Right. Okay. So Rita Cotterman saying she prints her patterns and put them in a binder so that she could put a bid number on them. So I could also put a bid number. Sure, you could.
Yeah, sure you could.
Why not have it all in one place?
Yeah. No, and the other thing that's really nice is when you go to your stash, and let's say I walk into Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl and, oh my God, I love that sweater. And it's a multicolored sweater, and it's got, you know, it's got a beautiful yoke, and it's knit in sport weight. And I really wasn't planning on buying a whole sweater quantities worth of yarn. I can go in my stash and I can put in sport weight, and it'll sort all my sport weight yarn. And I could see what I have and what I need to add. And now I can buy just what I need to add without having to buy the whole sweater quantity. Or maybe I don't have anything. You know, it's like every time I look for DK yarn, I never have DK yarn in my stash. It's like, no,
most.
I don't knit that much DK. I knit a lot of sport.
Okay.
And every time I find a project that's DK, I'm like, oh my God, I got to buy yarn again. Poor Paulette.
Oh, geez. I'm so sorry.
But, you know, like, this is my stash of sport weight. It's not that much. I mean, and the Sasora was almost gone now because I'm working on the Joni sweater.
Right, right.
And then there's all that Marisol I bought from you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I just thought about some crochet project that I might use that Marisol for.
There you go. Well, that's a beautiful yarn. And Nuna is a gorgeous, gorgeous yarn.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Paul said, you were talking about how you never have DK. Paul said he prefers DQ to DK. Oh, Paul, even when you're not with us, you always have something fun to say.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Gillian, this has been so very helpful. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your Monday night when you could just be watching. And
I could just be watching, but you know, hey, share your knowledge. You know, everybody learns something, and it makes your life easier. It's so much easier when I can, like, pick up this skein of yarn, which has to go back in a bin because I took it out for something, and I go look it up, and it'll tell me, oh, that goes in bin 2.
Right. Right. So you don't have to say, oh, just going to throw it in here and I'll remember to move it later. You just you know where it goes.
So I know what goes in bin 2. And of course, bin 2 is probably on the bottom of that stack of bins. Because that's what usually happens when I'm like, oh, damn.
Hey, Gina Bates, just in time for us to say goodnight.
She hasn't pulled a name yet, though.
No, I have not pulled a name yet. So I'm going to go over to the sharing bucket now.
Just don't pull my name, please.
Okay. Well,
that would be embarrassing to pull my name after I was on the show.
It's kind of like Jody when he pulled his own name from the sharing bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh boy. It's Beth Ann Wilkes, everybody. Congratulations, Beth Ann. You didn't lose too long ago. But I mean, you didn't win too long ago. You're winning right again. So Gina's listening on her way home from work. Kelly Kohlhofer says, thank you very much, Gillian. We really appreciate that. Thank you. Ellen Dreschler says, congratulations. And we're going to have a budget congratulations coming up now for sure. I know. And Michelle Lewis is saying, congratulations. Let's see. Rita says, thank you so much. Congratulations, Beth Ann. Jeannie McLean says, thank you, Jillian. Michelle, thank you, Jillian. And Beth Ann Wilkes says, oh my gosh, thank you. You are welcome. I love when the winners are actually watching and they get so excited. So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. A special thank you again to Jillian. We love you all. Stay safe until we see you next time. And we are going to sign off for the night. Good night.
Good
night.
We love
you. Bye-bye.